Hello, my freaky darlings. Welcome back. This week, I'm exploring Aokigahara Forest, also known as Japan's suicide forest. It also has a less creepy name, which is the Sea of Trees. It's actually quite a pretty name, eh? Yeah. The first time I heard of Aokigahara Forest was in a novel by Sarah Lotz, The Three, which, by the way, if you haven't read it, you really should. It's fucking brilliant. I'm also a little bit jealous of how good she is. But anyway, back to the suicide forest. Aokigahara is situated northwest of Mount Fuji and sits on 30 square kilometers of hardened lava laid down by the last major eruption of Mount Fuji in, I think, 864, and that's current era, not BC anyway. Parts of Aokigahara are also very dense, hence the whole Sea of Trees thing. Plus, the lava absorbs all the sound, helping to provide visitors with a sense of solitude, which I guess when you're about to kill yourself can either make it more peaceful or just make you feel even more alone and depressed. So, now, I have to admit, I have a bit of a thing for forests. I fucking love them. Okay? I am definitely more of a walk in the woods kind of girl as opposed to a stroll on the beach kind of girl. But Aokigahara is not really the forest you go for a leisurely stroll in. The forest trees organically twist and turn, their roots winding across the forest floor like treacherous veins. Because of its location at the base of Mount Fuji, the ground is uneven, it's rocky, and perforated with hundreds of caves. Add to that the eerie silence, which creates the sense of isolation. The trees are also so tightly packed that the wind cannot go through it. And the wildlife, while sparse, still manages to forage off the corpses, dismembering. So this is not your pretty little fairy tale forest. Okay. Death by hanging is apparently the most popular method of suicide. So if you go for a walk in the woods, you're sure to see someone dangling from the branches. Kind of like really grisly Christmas decorations. The second is said to be poisoning, often by drug overdose. So you don't just need to keep your eye on the ground to avoid tree roots and uneven terrain, you also have to worry about tripping over a corpse. And don't forget to watch out for those dismembered body parts. So going for a trail run in this forest is probably not a good idea. Just saying. Now, the forest didn't just start as being the destination of choice for suicide. It has a pretty dark history as well. Ubasute, okay, however the fuck you pronounce that, is a horrific form of euthanasia that translates roughly to abandoning the old woman. Yeah, apparently that was a thing. Thankfully, this isn't something that is still practiced, but was resorted to in desperate times of famine, where a family would lessen the number of mouths to feed by leading an elderly relative to a mountain or remote and rough environment to die. Lovely. So they wouldn't kill themselves, but they would die from dehydration, starvation, or exposure. Now, some insist that this was not a real thing, but rather grim folklore. Stories of the Sea of Trees being a site of this sort of cruelty have long been part of its legend. Okay, so now, given its grisly history and the number of people who kill themselves there every year, it's not exactly surprising that some believe the ghosts, or Yurei. Now, don't forget I mentioned Yurei and told you all about them in a previous video, like way back at the beginning. So if you want to find out about Yurei, go watch that. Of those abandoned by their families and the desolate spirits of the suicidal linger in the woods. Folklore claims they are vengeful, dedicated to tormenting visitors and luring those that are depressed and lost off the path. Now, you still get volunteers who do patrol the area. Brave souls. Very, very, very brave souls. But it's not intended to rescue people, but to recover their remains. Police and volunteers trek through the sea of trees to bring bodies back to civilization for a proper burial. It's kind of nice of them. Now, I don't have the statistics, but in the early 2000s, 70 to 100 were uncovered each year. And I'm guessing that given the shit show that has been 2020, those numbers are way higher this year than that. So, volunteers who search the area for bodies and those considering suicide typically mark their way with a plastic ribbon that they'll loop around the trees. Otherwise, they'll get lost and, probably join those that they're there to find, which is probably, not what they really want, unless they're the ones that are contemplating suicide. And if they leave the path, then it's not just contemplation, that's pretty much what will happen. Anyway, I don't think you'll just be able to use your phone to call for help and find your way out, because the soil of Suicide Forest is rich with magnetic iron, which plays havoc on cell phone services, GPS systems, and compasses. This is why tape can be so crucial to getting out alive. That's if you're not there to die on purpose. Some also believe that this is proof of the demons lurking in the dark forest. Now, I've had a look at some of the photos of the forest online, and I have to say it's beautiful. Now, as far as places to go to end it all, it's not a bad choice. Not that I'm advocating for suicide, okay? Some of the images I found were a tad disturbing, especially if you're sensitive, which thankfully I'm not. The images of abandoned personal effects snared in the undergrowth, human bones, and even more gruesome remains strewn across the forest floor and dangling from branches are definitely a smidge on the creepy side. But, So, what are your thoughts on Suicide Forest? Beautiful and haunted, or just fucking creepy? I actually just find it fucking fascinating. What about you? Anyway, that's it for this week. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, and if you're interested in things that go bump in the night, conspiracy theories, urban legends, and other weird shit, please hit that subscribe button. Or the follow button, depending on which platform you're viewing this on. And if you've read any of my books and enjoyed them, be a freaky darling and please leave a review wherever you bought it. Pretty please. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and if you dare to venture into that rather dark forest, do as the sign suggests, and stay on the path.